Hello, I'm Jeff, and welcome to Snap Talk, your podcast supplement. Last time we talked, or I guess I talked and you listened, about how European countries were starting to rule against loot boxes for their inherent gambling nature, with Belgium's Gaming Commission specifically calling out FIFA 18, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and Overwatch. It was also stated that several other European countries are actively investigating the practice. Going further north, Norway has been doing investigating of its own on a different practice. The country has found Valve's Steam Store, EA Origin, Sony's PlayStation Store, and the Nintendo eShop in violation of consumer laws as it pertains to refunds. Now, each of these companies have their own specific refund policy when it comes to refunds. EA, Steam, and Sony each have their own ability to refund a game purchased digitally. Steam has a 14-day refund policy where if you played no more than 2 hours within those first 2 weeks of purchase, you can refund for the price that you paid. Now, I've heard that the 2 hours is a little more flexible depending on the situation, but the 14 days is a hard cap. Sony apparently also has a 14-day return policy. However, unlike Steam, where you can play a little bit to determine if you're actually going to like the game, Sony's goes away if you start downloading or streaming the game. A bit of a dick move there, Sony. I mean, usually when you get someone who's trying to refund a product, it's because they don't like the product. If you're not allowing people to play the game, you're kind of getting rid of that ability to refund a product you don't like. It's not the most dickish refund policy on here. Here's one from Electronic Arts. The EA Origins refund policy, in which you can refund a game 24 hours after first launch, 7 days after purchase, or if you pre-ordered, 7 days after the release date of the pre-ordered game, whichever one comes first. That seems like an overly complicated refund policy. Although I guess the biggest thing I would have an issue with is that you don't really see those things put on the post-purchase screen too publicly. And I think that was one of the biggest things that Norway had. I mean, considering that Steam has the 14-day policy that they prefer, or maybe it's a law that it has to be 2 weeks or something like that. I don't know. I'm not up on my Norwegian refund policy law. Now, I'm sure you're all thinking, what about Nintendo? And I've saved them for last because they have a no refunds policy. Once you purchase a game from the eShop, you cannot refund it. Now, the reason is that Nintendo believes that once you start downloading a game, that's the start of performance of the game, and therefore it doesn't qualify for a refund. The problem with that is you don't even get a choice in not downloading the game. And in addition, pre-ordered games get preloaded, and that, according to Nintendo, is start of performance. And Norway has called them out on that BS. Now, for the moment, Nintendo is defending this policy, but it very well could be changed within the next, I don't want to speculate on how long it could be, but it could happen. I mean, Nintendo says that it's not something that they can possibly do, which is bull. You could easily have a refund policy put in place. I mean, it's not going to be like a certain other thing we'll get to where you just change the wording of the policy. You do have to do some sort of software coding thing in there, but it's still bull that you're not allowed to refund a digitally purchased game on a Nintendo system. Absolutely ridiculous. Fix that. Okay, now the other thing. About a week and a half ago, it was found that Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft were part of a group of 6 companies found in violation of FTC policy regarding warranties and repair restrictions. Basically, they would void warranties because you got something fixed by someone else, which the FTC found to be illegal. The other companies were Hyundai, HTC, and Asus. All 3 gaming companies have made the appropriate changes to their policies, and it's believed the other 3 made the appropriate changes as well. Now, I haven't had too much of an issue getting my stuff fixed by Nintendo. I remember sending in my Wii to get the laser fixed on it because it was having trouble reading discs, and the repairs went fairly smoothly. I remember it being a positive experience. I know some people either think or know that they have the necessary skills to fix it themselves. So I don't want to necessarily discredit them. I mean, if you're able to do it, cool, you can save money doing that. But I think there's also something to making sure you have the right parts for the system. And if you send it to the company that made it, you know you're going to get the right parts. And you know it's going to work the right way. I mean, you look at something like the Nyko Switch Cradle, which, after some sort of update to the Switch, just started frying the consoles. People will still go for the third-party stuff because it's probably a little cheaper than the main producer, but there's still the risk of, well, you, again, with the Nyko Cradles. So while I may not necessarily take advantage of this, I know some people will, and that's still a win for those who wanted to. So that's it for this episode of Snap Talk. If you liked what you saw, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with others. If you have a different opinion to what was stated, feel free to comment down below and we could talk about it. If you have an idea for another Snap Talk, leave a suggestion below, and if I feel I can get enough material together, I may talk about it in a future episode. I'm Jeff from Some Nerdy Arguments, and I'll talk to you soon.